and check those out. Any questions on these so far?
No questions, but we do have a lot of the regulars on. Stephen Bird,
Nice.
Ari's on, Wara, Patterson's on, Summers on.
Awesome.
It's on YouTube.
We got Alfie on. Got Alan on.
Got Alan on. Yeah.
And yeah, just people saying, hey, how we doing tonight? What's up, GenRight family? So, and I think our YouTube stream just started, so we should be good to go.
All right.
Oh, that's why it was a little slow.
I had to do a little reset.
Gotcha. Okay. So for those on YouTube, thanks for joining us. We were just talking about the American Iron Ball Joint Elite, which is a great upgrade if your ball joints are worn out. Worn out ball joints can cause all kinds of trouble, including poor tire wear and death wobble and poor handling. So you definitely want to keep track of that stuff. So.
We should give a shout out to Waldy's and say what we just kind of did, because we have a ton of their viewers on our YouTube live right now.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So Waldy's here from Puerto Rico, and we just did a whole live show prior to this one. And it's awesome to have him here and go through the whole thing. Want to come over and say hi?
Yes, sir.
Come on over. Say hi to everybody.
Bueno, aquí estamos. Muchas gracias. Hi, I'm Waldy from Puerto Rico, and I will be here in GenRight Off-Road for a few days. And I want to take a lot of videos for my Latin American followers.
Yep. And we're going to do some cool stuff while you're here.
Yeah,
We already
I
have,
know.
but there's even more cool stuff. So he's going to get a ride in the TERREMOTO over the next few days, so it's going to be awesome. So, all right, well, cool. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, yep.
All right.
Okay.
What else we got, Jeff?
We got people from all over the world now.
Nice.
Dominican Republic, USA.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome.
We have Don Cars on. He's in the middle of doing a TJ to LJ and Tracer, so that's cool to see him on. People just saying hi. I'm sure Tom Patterson. We got Shane Wolfman himself on.
Nice.
So no questions yet, but I'm sure as soon as we get into TERREMOTO, they definitely will.
Yeah, thanks for all the new viewers. We appreciate that. This is where we talk about, our favorite subject, Jeeps and parts. So I'm happy to field questions. So as you have them, just type them in and they'll read them off to me. Okay. As many of you know, this is the same Jeep that I raced King of the Hammers back in 2020 in the Unlimited class. Did the full 250 miles or whatever it is. I just, a few weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, raced the PCI 300 in the same Jeep in the Unlimited class, Class 1, and did really good. So what we're doing now is we're tearing down the Jeep to inspect all the parts, because we've got a rigorous off-road schedule over the next few weeks now, including our turkey run, which is 10 days out the Hammers. So we can't talk about what we're going to do this weekend, but you'll see it in the coming weeks. And we're doing some really cool stuff. So
Hey, Tony.
yeah.
Jeremy Balke wants to know if you'll be at 4x4 night this week.
I will not. I am headed out. I can't even say where for this weekend, but we're going to do something really cool.
Look at his smile.
Yeah.
Any questions in Spanish on YouTube, Alan?
There's a lot of people just saying hi, but yeah. Waldy, you want to get in there and I'll read these questions for you?
What?
Just go and stay to your boy next to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep it on.
If we got more questions, heck yeah.
En español. They want to a little bit of translated.
So Tony, they say that you're gonna have a lot of more followers now in Spanish.
Awesome.
Everybody's on it now. It's been a while since.
Ustedes puedan entender lo que Tony está diciendo, porque esto sucede. It happens a lot that people from out of the states, they buy a lot of stuff from the state, but they doesn't know how to make the perfect installation because they doesn't know how to read the instructions.
Yes.
And then they start calling, hey, this is doesn't fit, this is not right, this is a problem. Y nosotros pensamos resolver eso enseñándole a ustedes cómo hacer las cosas bien hechas, cómo leer esas instrucciones y cómo tener estos vehículos a estos niveles. Lo que él dijo ahorita es que se están preparando para algo que viene muy grande y este vehículo Terremoto acaba de salir de esta corrida y ahora va para otra corrida más grande todavía.
Yeah, that maybe explain that our products are designed as a system. We don't just make a bunch of parts that people get to pick and choose and put different, they buy this from Artec and this from whoever, Terraflex or whatever. That's how you end up with a mess.
Ajá.
Yeah.
Eso es muy importante lo que él acaba de decir. Todas las piezas que GenRight Off-Road diseña están así mito, diseñadas para trabajar juntas, together. No quedaría bien si usted compra el track bar bracket en el frame y en el chasis, hablando en español, y a la parte de abajo compra uno de Artec. You need to have both. El de GenRight de arriba está hecho para trabajar con el de abajo. Así que si usted quiere tener un Jeep a un nivel así, o no tiene que ser a ese nivel, tiene que seguir la misma línea, same line of products that you produce.
Yes.
Y todas las piezas que están aquí están en el
That's
Hey, this episode, Waldy buys the shop.
Yeah, so what happens is that you see all these other companies, these brands, but you don't see them out doing this kind of stuff. We're
No,
improving it.
never.
We're improving it.
Eso sí es importante. Hay montones de compañías haciendo piezas de off-road, pero cuando ustedes los ha visto usándolas, claro, they go like one time a year, like for the Eastern Jeep Safari, or something like that, 2 times. Pero este carro corrió hace 3 weeks ago, 3 semanas atrás, y este weekend va a tener una pela grandísima. This weekend will be hard. Y en un par de días más, son 10 días corridos more hard. O sea, que aquí se están trabajando los carros y usándose. Y lo que, if something's break, you just change it and change the part in the website and everything.
That's right.
Si algo se rompe, eliminan la pieza y la cambian.
Yeah, we're constantly improving. What do you got, Jeff?
Tony, Jay McKenzie would like to know, would you guys recommend those ball joint deletes for somebody living where roads are salted during the colder months? Wondering how the bearing would hold up to that snow and salt.
So the bearings are made of a material that, some of them are coated and a lot of them are stainless steel. So the kit, if I back up a slide, does come with O-ring seals in it. So you can use the O-rings and seal that off, but it would be the same as running a FK Heim, right? So you don't run seals on that, you just wash it off and keep using it. So it would kind of depend on their particular situation, they'd have to make that call. But I would do this all day long. The factory ball joints just, especially if you're running a tire of 37 or 40, they are not designed for that. That's where you need something more heavy duty. Yep.
Alfie brought up a good point since we're on the subject. He would like it to be known that there is a Spanish-speaking employee at GenRight. If they have questions, we can always get him and he can translate for us.
Yeah, cool. Perfect.
And Jeremy Balke wants to know if there's an easy way to verify if a front axle is bent. I'm assuming the housing.
Yeah, the housing is one thing. So typically if you were to take the axle apart and you took it to an axle shop, right, one of the repair shops like Hooper's, they have a bar that they run through it and check it to see if it's straight. You have that?
I have in my shop.
Yeah. So that's a common way to do it. The other way, is if you see it starting to what we call smile, with those, tires starting to get, now you can adjust for a little bit of that, but chances are, the smaller housings just don't have the strength. And what happens is where the axle in the tire, they put the bump stop way inside. So even though you're hitting the bump stop, it's got a lot of leverage and it can bend the tube or the C. So, if it's bent, sometimes the axle shops can straighten it, but you're better off to just get yourself something beefier. You've exceeded the, capability.
That's why you don't sell trusses.
No.
Like to make it more stronger. It make it, but finally.
Then the wheel bearings blow out, right? You're just moving the stress to somewhere else.
I will introduce that. Hay algo bien importante que él acaba de decir. Los diferenciales cuando son pequeños, dan a 30, dan a 44, uno los puede reforzar y te van a durar más. Pero todo ese estrés te lo estás llevando ¿a dónde? Al final. Entonces los bearings o las cajas de bola son las que vienen sufriendo ese golpeteo. En GenRight ellos te dicen que mejor cambie a un diferencial más fuerte. Y alguien preguntó que si estaba doblado, ¿cómo puede saberlo? Una tienda como Waldy Off-Road le pone una barra que tenemos especial y tiene que pasar de un lado al otro. Pero lo mejor es save the money and invest in something bigger.
Yes.
Depends on your tires.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously, if you have aspirations to upgrade the engine, the driveline, then yeah, and big tires, you're putting a massive amount of stress. And you need to build a good base for a driveline.
I think that the first thing that you need to think about when you start a project is your tire size.
Yes, yeah,
This means everything.
everything. Yeah, if you want to go 40, 42, it's got to be beefy.
Eso es importante cuando usted va a hacer un proyecto por primera vez. La primera cosa que usted tiene que pensar es en el tamaño de la goma. Y eso le va a decir todo lo que usted tiene que hacer.
Mr. Kelly Sims says, El Silver Surfer es mucho más rápido que el Terremoto.
Mucho más, what?
Rapido.
Ah, it's more faster than Que más rápido. Ese es el Silver Surfer. He will be with us.
He will.
Ah, ya, no, va a estar chévere.
Everybody wants to be tough.
Are ball joint deletes rebuildable?
They are rebuildable. You can get the individual pieces from them, and some of these, like the spherical ends, some people call them uniballs, are available readily. So depending on where you live or if it's hard to get, and that's not much different than a ball joint end, right? Those are readily available in an auto parts store. The difference is this is a heavier duty upgrade. So if you've already damaged your ball joints, then you've got to put something better in going forward.
Yeah. Never use the factory again.
The same thing, yeah. You're just going to get the same result.
Yes.
People want to know, will GenRight ever visit Puerto Rico and experience the Puerto Rican off-roading?
No, but they will.
We haven't been there yet.
They ask in English or Spanish.
They ask in English.
In English, we are waiting that I finish my Jeep TJ. Then now it's a LJ.
Yes.
You talked
he did
to
our
me.
TJ
You talked to me in the 2019 in SEMA show, telling me that you will do that, and I have your message. And then a few years later, I was like making something new for my TJ, and then GenRight come with the LJ. I was ready to sell my TJ to buy an LJ, and then you came with that kit. I buy it, and I think it will be like in less than 2 months. My new LJ will be ready, and then Tony can go to Puerto Rico and have an experience with our mud. We don't have rocks.
There we go.
Question from Ricker. Bump stops required or only for specific type of driving? LJ 3-inch with 35s.
So bump stops are always required. The bolts on the end of the shock are not strong enough, or the bounce, that if you repeatedly bottom that out, you're going to damage something. So you have to have a bump stop, and it needs to stop before the shock bottoms out. And it's good too, because you don't want that slamming on the frame that's going to wreck your ball joints, your wheel bearings. It's gonna damage a bunch of stuff. So, but you must have bump stops of some kind. I don't care if they're urethane or closed cell foam or air bumps or whatever, but you gotta have something.
Okay. Off-topic question. Running the Curry 60 with the Auburn locker ordered from GenRight, filled with 2.5 quarts per the tag attached to the axle. Fluid is coming out the vent tube when hubs are locked and in four-wheel drive. Guessing I overfilled it. How much fluid do you guys run in the Curry 60?
Okay, so if it's a newer generation Curry 60, on the side differential, there's a big giant, what looks like a set screw with a nut on it. Don't touch that one. That's the preload for the ring gear. Underneath that, there's a smaller set screw, and that is the fill hole, what determines full. So you fill through the diff cover, and as soon as oil starts to run out there, you seal them both off, and that's all the fluid feeds.
This is a really common question.
Yes, and it's one of the beautiful things about Curry, because it works perfectly. So. One
People
of those things they don't understand. Like, why am I spending the money, right?
people also want to know why you were running 5 lug and not 8 lug.
I have the same question. I like 8 lugs.
So, 8 lugs is typically a sign of a junkyard axle, right? So what happens is they come with big, massive brakes that came off a 1-ton truck. The calipers, everything is heavy.
Yeah,
I don't want all that weight. I want a lighter weight brake package that's strong. So we run a 14-inch rotor with an aluminum hat and then an aluminum caliper. And it's 40 pounds per corner.
40 pounds.
40 pounds.
Eso es algo importante que hablaron, gente. Le preguntaron que por qué él corre lo caro, de 5
Right there, there's the caliper.
de 5 tuercas y nosotros los usamos de 8. Él lo que está es saving weight,
Yes.
está evitando tanto peso. Este es el caliper que usa Terremoto.
Yes.
No pesa nada en comparación a los calibres que nosotros tenemos en los Trans otros, pues son grandísimos. Comes with from the Ram to 250
Or 350.
Yeah,
right?
it's really heavy.
It's big, yeah.
Y
massive.
puede llegar hasta
Yeah.
50 libras por cada lado. Son 200 libras, 200 pounds additional.
Yes.
It's like 1 people inside the vehicle.
Yeah, and by the way, every pound of unsprung weight is like 10 pounds of sprung weight.
Yeah,
So
bend.
you gotta, like, you want the beef down low, you know, in the axle, but don't just add extra weight to add extra weight. It's not helping you. It makes the suspension not perform as well.
Sí, he needs to have some weight on the differential.
Well, it's
but not
already
too much.
heavier than the, you know, that's, you know, a front 60 or 70 is maybe a couple hundred pounds heavier than a stock 30 or 40.
Oh, okay.
So you've already added that weight.
That is a common question that people ask me, that how much will be like a Canyon but different from a Dana 44 from a Rubicon through that differentials.
Yeah.
Can be like 200 each,
Yeah.
not too much.
No, not too
because
much.
this call it like 1 ton. They think it weighs 1 ton.
Oh, no, it came out of a one time.
Ajá, eso es algo bien importante, gente. Los diferenciales Dana 60 versus los 44 de un Rubicon, estamos hablando de unas 200 libras de diferencia más que pesan. No es que usted piense que como se llaman 1 ton, pesan 1 tonelada. Vienen de un vehículo 1 ton, pero 1 tonelada. Pero ellos no pesan tanto cuando lo pesan en comparación.
People were commenting on a beep in the background that the audio is picking up. It sounds like a dead smoke detector or something.
I think
A
it's one of
beep?
those vent things
Oh,
on
yeah.
the roof.
Oh, really? Like a squeak? Like it's
Yeah,
a
like
bad
a-
bearing?
That's the
sorry.
wall.
Sorry. It's inconsistent. we have people looking. All right, what else we got, Jeff?
People want to know when Waldy is ever going to build a rock crawler and take it to Moab.
Well, I go to Moab every year, and the next year we will show up my boy's Jeep, Andres. He was with Tony this year in Moab, and we built a JK 2-door. It's a 112 wheelbase. It's a 2-door, stretched front and rear with GenRight fenders. From your front bumper, the new one
Yep.
that you cut the frame,
Yep.
it is fixed perfect, and we want to show up his Jeep. It's a Dana 60 and 42s. Like right now in Puerto Rico, we have 42s triple, but for Moab, we're planning to change it for like a Goodyear MTR or 40s,
Mickey Thompson.
like Mickey Thompson's, something like that, because we like to drive from Florida to Moab, use it and return. That shows that my work is really good.
Yeah.
It's a
Good
daily
on-road
drive,
and
capable to do off-road.
Yes, yes.
Our buddy Gustavo says, "Greetings, guys. We raced with Alan and Waldy's son on EJS and won against Aftershock ending Pritchett Canyon."
Yeah, from Costa Rica.
We have Nick in the background saying they didn't win. Guess we'll have to relive that.
Funny stuff. Funny stuff. Any more questions? Or keep going?
Yeah, question for Waldies. I'm building a Dana 44 Stronger, welding truss, C-gusset sleeve, and changing to RCVs. What else can I do to run 39 or 40s?
Well, it depends in Spanish or English.
He wrote it in English.
English, it depends that your terrain, because in Puerto Rico, like we have mud. Mud is really soft. I can put easy a 40 with the Dana 44 with RCVs, and if you are a really good driver and you are thinking that you have a rim and pinion that the size of Dana 44, you need to think about that you have this. This is your fuse.
Yes.
But if you are in the rocks, I don't think it's a really good idea.
I would stick with a 37.
Yes.
So, we should tell the viewers, keep in mind, a Dana 44 ring gear fits inside a Dana 60 ring gear.
Wow. I
Right?
don't
It's
even
that
think
much smaller. Yeah.
Ahí lo que está diciendo para que usted sepa que el tamaño de un Dana 44, la corona, cabe dentro de la del Dana 60. Me dicen el tamaño. I think it's 8.8
Yeah.
measure,
Yeah.
and
these
the
are
other is
10.5.
10.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
big enough. If you want to play in the mud and really, really hardcore, just go with the Dana 60.
Well, and that's the thing. You know what he just described. He's spending a ton of money.
Yeah.
RCVs.
Almost
you know,
$2,000.
That's right. Plus labor. I mean, he could have sold what he has and been into a 60.
Ajá, ahí mira lo que está diciendo. Hay una persona que le puso un montón de dinero a un Dana 44. Like a typical Dana 60 already built it will be like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Y son $10,000 un Dana 60 delantero. Pero si tú tienes un Dana 44 que te costó $3,000, unos ejes que te costaron $2,000, ya you have 5,000 plus truss, plus labor, plus rim and pinion, locker. You will end up almost in the 10 grand.
That's right.
Just a couple of more
It's
right?
more
A Dana
important.
60 turns 10
Power
grand.
torque is all important.
Oh yeah. Algo nuevo que acabo de aprender, un Dana 60 tiene más giro que un Dana 44. That's really good.
It is. People forget about that. Okay.
Question from YouTube. When off-roading, what's more important, power or torque at low RPM?
That's a good question. At low RPM, torque is going to be your friend. That's what it's going to take to get it moving. And remember, we just weighed one of our 40s on a wheel, and it's 150 pounds. So you have 4 150-pound flywheels spinning, right? So the energy it takes to get that moving is the torque. The horsepower is going to be what continues to accelerate. So.
They also ask you to translate that to Spanish.
A really good sample is I prepare vehicles in Puerto Rico for the mud, but as soon as we came to Moab, we changed transfer case and put a Rubicon transfer case because we want torque. We don't want horsepower. Because one time, like 2 years ago, we go with the Jeep JK with the RIP supercharger, 3.6 on 40s
Yeah.
with 60. And what happened? He broke his driveline, the
Drive shaft.
drive shaft, because spinning too fast. And then the next year he came with the Rubicon transfer case, and he loved it. Ahí lo que estamos hablando es que depende del terreno de usted, es lo que va a hacer. Si usted quiere torque, es en las piedras acá. Va subiendo la piedra aplicando torque. Pero si tú quieres velocidad, entonces necesitas like horsepower when you want to keep the tire like really clean in the mud. It's totally different.
Yes.
Terrains means what you will have in your vehicle.
Yes. Yeah. And obviously something like TERREMOTO that can crawl or spin the tire, but you know that's a rebuilt piece.
Yeah, because have 700 horsepower.
Right.
Es como lo que estamos hablando, Terremoto lo tiene todo. You can go to the mud with this and play, and you can go to the rocks.
Yes.
But you have a transfer case, totally normal. No,
Yes.
not
3 to
twin,
1. 3 to 1.
3 to 1.
Yeah, but it is front and rear, right?
Okay, but you don't have twin
Nope.
or double.
So the torque converter on the automatic transmission provides that extra gear ratio.
Okay.
Yes.
You know that my Jeep this year will have, for the first time, a torque converter. I used to have the factory one, and this is a really mistake.
Yeah.
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 Now I have like a 2030 300
Yeah.
tall,
Yeah.
says.
Yeah. So
I will know how this feels.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of the time we even go higher than that. We'll go 3,500.
Ajá.
Yeah.
Para la gente de Puerto Rico que decían que eso no servía, los convertidores con alto RPM es lo bueno de los tractors.
Yeah. What do you got there?
On a tracer kit, how far are the axles stretched in the front and in the rear?
So the front goes forward 4 inches and the rear goes all the way back to, so it equals out 115.
In the four-door.
No, on a tracer. The LJ.
LJ.
Oh, the
Yeah.
LJ.
Yeah.
The LJ.
Would you guys ever consider swapping a very popular Honda K series engine into a Jeep to see if it's capable of handling extreme off-roading?
Well, I have something.
Yeah?
I doesn't have it, but it was in English.
It was in English.
In English. 3 weeks ago, I was in Panama recording the hottest trail that they have. I passed Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday to get out of that trail with 14 vehicles. One vehicle had a Honda K, I don't even know how engines about Honda. They have the 4-cylinder, the big one, with 37s, and do a lot, really, really good. But for my opinion, it was like too much RPMs and less torque.
Right.
That's what I don't like Supra engines from Toyota in crawling Jeeps
Right.
or Jeeps for the mod, because you will hear the engine like for 7,000, 8,000
Yes.
RPMs, but nothing about torque.
Right.
Will GenRight Off-Road be at Cal 4-Wheel Conventions 2023? And then also, can GenRight hit Cal 4-Wheel Winter Fun Fest?
Oh, I need the dates on both of those, and I'd be happy to get those on the schedule.
Yeah, shoot me the information on those at jeff@genright.com.
Yeah, we haven't started building our 2023 calendar, other than KOH.
And somebody from YouTube did ask, what axle shafts are you running in Terremoto?
So I run the standard 4340 chromoly shafts that come in it, and that's like when I race.
How many splines?
There are 35 spline
35
front,
splines.
40 in rear.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the setup.
Do you think that 40 on the front is like too much?
Well, you've gotta be careful, right? So what's gonna break? If you put 40 spline in the front, that means for sure the ring pin is gonna break. So I don't want the ring pin to break. I want something else to break. And typically what I want is the hub.
Ok, eso es bueno decirlo en español. El Terremoto tiene los ejes delanteros, son de 35 estrías en los ejes interiores. Entonces lo que me está diciendo es que no sube a 40 estrías porque lo que rompería sería el ring and pinion, la catalina y el cónico. Él prefiere que se rompa el locking hub o el shaft, pero que no se vaya a romper porque because it's really difficult to make to set up the ring and pinion in the desert.
Yes.
It's like easy to swap axle shafts, and that's it. In just like an hour, we are
Yes.
running again.
Yes.
Pues eso es muy importante.
Tony, if you had to choose, should I get a Dana 60 in the front or rear first?
Well, way back 20 years ago, I did my rear first.
So did I.
And I did high pinion, right? That got me going. The rear really takes more abuse than the front. Jeff knows this because he's got some twisting going on right now. So yeah, get the rear set up. Depending on what kind of Jeep you're putting it in, it's a great time to link it. You can just like do it all right at that same time.
And plus, depending on the Jeep, the rear is always more popular because on a TJ, YJ, a lot of people do the rear and stretch their wheelbase at the same time and then move on to the front.
Yeah. The front, by the way, is much more complicated. When I did my first 3-link in the front on a YJ, I thought, I'll get this done in like a long 3-day weekend. 3 weeks later, I finished it. So yeah, it's a much more, and
caster.
I kind of know what I'm doing.
Which brings me to the point, when you are doing all this stuff, you're only going to want to do it once. So if it does take longer, take your time.
Take your time, yes, yes, for sure. And that's part of why we sell, whether it's the Elite or the XS or the Tracer, we sell those as a system. So that the guy doesn't have to think about where do I put everything. It only goes in one spot.
Oh, okay.
They just weld it in. The control arms are a certain length.
When they buy the kit, it comes with something that will tell you where to weld everything in the perfect spot.
Yes, yeah, like we locate off a hole and then you place it there and then weld it.
Okay, there's no way to make it wrong.
No, well, I mean,
Well,
if they
if you
do, then it's up to them to fix it. But now our Legend kit was a builder's kit, so that one you could stretch it as much as you wanted. You could run any axles you want. That was a completely different kit, and we still sell that, the Legend kit.
We do. It does great, but that still does come with where to weld all the frame side brackets.
Yes.
So it does take the guesswork out.
Yeah, it comes with like 60 pages of instructions to kind of give you the right idea where to place it.
Cuando usted compra una suspensión aquí en GenRight, hay unas que vienen hasta con 70 páginas de instrucciones para que te asegures de que lo hagas bien hecho.
What else we got, Chad?
We lost our translator, Alan, so Jamie is on Google Translator. Can you build a 392 to off-road in the rocks and in the mud? Or are they different builds?
In fact, that's just what we were talking about with Terremoto. Once you've got a V8 like that, as long as you set up with the right transfer case, so a 392, if you got the Rubicon version, is going to come with the 4-to-1 transfer case, which is fine, but that does stick you to all-wheel drive. We're currently offering the EXS frame and suspension for the 392 that comes with the Curry 60 or 70 in the front and 70 in the rear, and that's a great way that you can go tackle whatever you want, and that would be on 40s or 42s.
But the factory transfer case from the 392 is not good.
Well, it's all-wheel drive.
All-wheel drive.
Yeah,
I don't like
I
it.
don't like that. No, I'd put an Atlas in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You read that?
So they just
This one, sure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, Waldy got called out on this. What is better for off-roading, manual transmission or automatic transmission? I'm a Waldy's fan, and I can see he's scared of using a manual transmission on his Jeeps. And why?
Oh, no. I always think that if I have a Jeep, like let's say a YJ with the 4-cylinder, I will prefer it manual because I can get more with that manual transmission because I will shift it when I want it. He asked in English?
He did ask in English.
Okay. But if I have a powerful engine, why I want it manual?
Right.
I want it automatic.
Yeah.
And let the transmission do his job.
His job.
It's like right now I have a Jeep Liberty in Costa Rica. They built it with the 4-cylinder Toyota engine from a truck. It's a 4.2 liter 4-cylinder from diesel with the 5 manual transmission from Land Cruiser 70 series. I just use it this weekend down there in Costa Rica. It's a turbo engine, a really lot of torque, not too much power. But you know what? Manual was good. But just 3 days that I use it, I just changed my mind and I called the shop and I say, hey, take the 4-cylinder out. I want a V8, I want an LS. And right now, I'm taking out and I say, hey, and don't forget to make it manual. Now, automatic.
Yeah.
Now I have an LS 6.0. I want an automatic transmission.
So you're not scared of manual, you just upgraded.
I have
Well,
trucks.
there's a place for it.
Yeah.
Right? Like it fits in certain, like you said, with a 4-cylinder you can slip the clutch and kind of work it a little more and hang a gear longer.
But if you want to feel safe in a really tough trail, I think it's better automatic because it's not the same that if you are on a cliff and the front vehicle stops, you need to prepare to start driving in that cliff.
Yeah.
Cameron.
Gustavo wants to know 4 high or 4 low to race on desert.
We're high.
4 high,
We're high.
Oh yeah.
but you need to have a really good engine.
And you need to be in 4-wheel drive because if something happens, you want to be able to just stand on the throttle and get it to pull out. So, yeah.
Es una buena pregunta, gente. En el desierto ellos corren en 4x4 high, not low. Okay? But in sometimes you need to start shifting
Yes.
from high to low.
Yes, in
it
rocks.
depends because like in hammers, you have like everything.
Everything. Yes.
You have rocks, you have really long distance like flat. In the flat distance you are in high,
Yes.
but in the rocks you are in low.
Low.
to keep the transmission cooler, right?
And you have to be able to make that shift very quickly, so, or the next guy catches you.
Oh, okay.
Tony, what is the right way to make sure about the oil level in a first-gen rear rock jack 60 made for an LJ? It has a G2 cover and doesn't have any plugs on the side. Thanks.
Yeah, so what I would do is I would typically put 3 quarts in and be prepared for a mess. So what's going to happen is the axle will level itself out. It will find its happy place by pushing the extra oil out the vent.
And that question was in Spanish.
Oh,
That question?
Yes.
Something I will ask. If they put a lot of oils, did the seals can explode or not?
no, what'll happen, as long as the vent hose is not kinked.
Okay.
So typically, if the pinion seal is leaking or the axle seal is leaking, it means the vent is kinked.
Okay.
So, and nobody checks that. They always forget about it.
Yeah. Algo bien importante que él acaba de decir. La mayor parte de las veces que los retenedores de los diferenciales se rompen es porque el vent, la manga que hace que respire el diferencial, está en algún lugar tapada. Y el diferencial, because it heats the oil.
Fluid.
Ajá, el aceite se calienta tanto que por algún lado tiene que salir ese calor y explota los sellos. And they ask about how much oil they put inside of the what?
They asked how to check the oil level or how much to put into.
So I think the recommendation
differential.
is for 2.5 quarts, but I would put 3 in and then let it find its happy place.
And it'll blow whatever it doesn't want out of the vent.
Yes.
Ah,
That's why
okay.
I said it'll make a mess.
Verifica bien que tenga ¿cómo le dicen en español? Sería el respiradero del diferencial que esté bien limpio, que te pueda respirar el diferencial. Le vas a poner 3 cuartos de grasa de diferencial y entonces lo que esté de más va a salir por ahí hasta que llegue el momento en que no va a botar y ese es tu nivel perfecto. What number do you recommend?
So it depends on their climate. So if it's a cold climate, 75, 90, and if it's a warmer climate, 75 or 85 and 140.
Okay.
And then the other thing would be is it's only going to bubble over if they're going fast. So if they're just rock crawling, it'll never bubble over.
Okay. Si va bien rápido, él puede escupir el aceite. Pero si va suave, jamás y nunca lo va a botar porque no llega a tomar temperatura.
Yeah, here's
Okay. This is for the cold. El 75W90 él lo recomienda si usted está en un país que está bastante frío. Entonces lo recomiendo a la gente mía de Chile, de Perú, que tienen los climas bastante fríos. Perú, Chile. This is really good. But like in Puerto Rico, that is really hot. If you prefer to use 75-1.
yeah, if especially if they're going fast.
Okay.
Right? But if they're not going fast, this is fine.
Okay. Y este sería si tú corres bastante duro, 75W140.
The question about the 392, he would like that translated to Spanish, please, the answer.
What question was?
If you can build a 392 for rock crawling and also the mud.
Well, si tú tienes un 392, ahora GenRight está ofreciendo la nueva suspensión. La diferencia de la suspensión de GenRight es que viene con el chasis completo. Todo el chasis va a venir para tu Jeep. Vas a levantar la caja, they will take the body off. Vas a sacar el motor. Esto es para alguien hardcore, really hardcore guy.
Yeah.
Y entonces vas a sacar el chasis y eso tiene un porqué. There is something why you need to change the chassis. You tell me that morning.
Yeah, the
this
high
morning.
carbon steel.
El problema que ellos hicieron el chasis ahora es que para los JL, para lograr hacerlos más livianos y que el chasis sea más duro, usaron un metal que se llama high carbon. Es como un carbón fuerte para hacer ese chasis. Pero ¿qué sucede? Cuando tú haces soldadura, when you weld, it doesn't.
It's too thin,
It can
it's
be
too thin.
it can crack.
It's thin and then it tempers it.
Se puede partir porque el chasis lo hicieron finito, pero más sólido para que pese menos y economice gasolina. O sea que GenRight sacó un full chasis completo para los JL y viene para el 392.
Especially if he wants to have a Jeep that can do everything, then that's the right investment.
Okay. And this is ready for 40s.
Yeah, that's the only way we build it. Yeah.
Okay. Y ese chasis es para como 40.
Even 42s when they come out.
Our friend Laura Patterson, any suggestions to break in a stiff Atlas transfer case without breaking it?
Yes. So An Atlas transfer case, if you ever talk to somebody up there, I think it's somewhere between 500 and 1,000 shifts it takes to break one in. So what you want to do is you want to drive along where you're not on the gas and you're not off the gas. You want to find that very sweet spot and you want to shift both levers on the transfer case individually. Now, obviously you can't go from high to low. You're just going to be going like neutral and then high to neutral, and then you can go low, front, rear, and then back.
It is really hard for me now that it's
Yeah.
brand new transfer case.
Yeah.
Really,
It's all about the load on the driveline though. So you can't be accelerating, you can't be decelerating. So you have to find, and trust me, when you find the sweet spot, it will shift like butter.
Yeah, and we do have a very good YouTube video on it where Tony goes in demonstration of how to shift.
Yes, especially if you put one in your JK, where there's an instant, once you put it in neutral, you have to tap the brake and it gets the drum and the transmission to stop, and the transfer case shifts like butter. Okay, those are very, if you haven't seen that video, you need, like even your guys need to see that video.
Hay un video de GenRight que Tony hizo para los fanáticos del Transfer Case Atlas, que es el mismo que tengo en el Jeep mío. Y él dice que tienes que encontrarle cuál es el momento perfecto para tú cambiar hacer el shift de 2x4 a 4x4 y de high a low. No es solamente pararte. En el JK él recomienda que te pares, pises el freno, la transmisión se detiene completamente y entonces vas a aplicar el cambio que tú quieres poner. Por lo menos yo lo hago, I like to do like 3 miles per hour, or something like that. Doesn't stop.
Do not stop. Never, never, never stop with
To
an Atlas.
change.
Yes, it must be moving.
Mira, y es importante, no tienes que pararte, no debes pararte para cambiar los cambios de 2x4 a 4x4. Lo puedes hacer corriendo muy suave hasta que logras poner tu cambio.
Tony, what do you think of the Spider Track's rear 9-inch?
So some of the 9-inch products can be built to withstand a 40, and they are about 75 pounds lighter than say a Curry 60 or 70. But the pinion is very small. Now it does have an additional support on it, but what happens is by the time you get a beefy enough ring gear in there to support a big tire, you're going to be paying like over $1,000 per ring and pinion, and then they're very hard to find. So, it's got the right wheel bearings, it'll run, bigger shafts. But remember, a 9-inch, the bearings are only so big. So when you poke a hole in that for a 40 spline shaft, the case on the locker is very, very thin. And ARB sells one, but it's $3,000, because it's all heat treated and special.
Oh, okay.
So,
It's
again,
like 2 inches. The 40
yeah,
splines.
it's small. So this goes back to, you keep pouring money at something, but now it's this temperamental, thing you can't get parts for. Just put a 70 in and be done.
Oh, he's asking for on a 44?
Well, no, on a 9-inch.
9-inch.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
A custom one. So you're already into a lot of money, but now you've got all these temperamental parts.
We do have more questions, but since the title of the live is what to check on your Jeep before you go off-roading, we should spin around and just go over like the top 5, 10 things to check. And then if time, we'll stay a little extra and answer a few more questions.
So again, we're doing this because we just raced the TERREMOTO in the PCI 300. And what I'll do is I'll talk to you about what we've done.
I can't move much, so.
I know. So can you zoom in a little?
Yes, I can zoom in.
Okay. So Nick, my co-driver, wave Nick, say hi.
Hi.
Who's been my co-driver for the past few years. He and I have gone over, mostly him, have gone over this Jeep. So one of the things we did was during the PCI 300, we really pounded on this front end. And I was very nervous about the ball joints, the wheel bearings, just everything associated because we were constantly pounding on that. And Jeff rode along with me, he knows it was a pretty good ride. And what we did was verify that everything was good. The ball joint deletes come with a bolt, and I've been running these for a couple of years. I wanted to make sure the bolts weren't damaged or bent or cracked or anything. Everything looked good. Then what we do is we checked all the heims to make sure that they don't have any excess play, and made sure that the ram is good. And then we changed the differential fluid, because we checked the splines on the axle shafts to make sure that they weren't twisted. So that required, by the way, a complete disassembly. So tire off, brakes off, hub off, wheel bearings off, knuckle off, axle shafts out. I mean, this thing was stripped to the bare housing.
Which seems like a ton of work, but it's worth every second to make sure you're not stranded on the trail with something overlooked and a broken
The way
part.
I look at it is this: you can do the work here in the shop, or you can do it out on the trail.
Or driveway.
Right?
It's not good, in the trail.
So the other thing that I wanted to point out is I just went and got brand new JE Reel drive shafts, because you can spend all the money for a great axle, but if you have a cheesy drive shaft in there, that's going to be the next thing that breaks. So we serviced, we changed the engine oil, the filter, we changed the power steering fluid. We went through some electrical stuff and just made sure that everything was good. We had a fan that had a loose connection on the connector. We cleaned the skid plate. There had been a lot of dust and silt built in the bottom of the skid plate. We checked all the Johnny joints. Oh, actually, that's a good thing. Is there a Johnny joint over there, Jeff? I want to give everybody a special tip.
One in the spirit box.
I thought you were up on the shelf now.
Not see one on the shelf.
Okay, so there's one of the spare boxes. There's something that you need to know about a Johnny joint, and this is a special tip that I'll give you guys.
Hay algo bien importante que yo quiero decir a la gente. Normally, when you lift a vehicle in a lifter,
Yeah.
when you have a wrong suspension, the front end do like this.
Yes.
When you have a right suspension, it goes down like perfect.
Yeah.
And this I have a reason. But
Yes.
it's a secret.
And I'm running limit straps. I always talk about use a limit strap to protect the shocks. And we recharge all the nitrogen in the bumps and in the shocks. In this case, we re-greased everything, retorqued everything. We use torque seal to show that nothing's moved, so we can just visually know that it did not get loose. These are all special things.
You want the big ones, right?
But, yeah, if you have one.
Which the torque seal is a great way. Well, you're probably not going to go over your entire Jeep every night on a wheeling trip. You can glance at the torque seal and make sure nothing's moved.
There you go. Here we go. Okay. So this is a tip, and the reason I'm giving you this tip is a Johnny joint is built so that you can grease it. However, if the joint has run dry and this moved the plastic inside around, now the grease doesn't have a hole to go into. So pull the zert and drill this with a drill bit. You'll see a little plastic come out, and then you can screw that back in and it'll accept grease really good. And then you'll have a nice smooth joint. So this is trust me, I've learned this tip the hard way, and it's a very simple thing to do, and it works great.
Let me tell them. Algo bien importante y lo acabo de aprender ahora mismo. I just learned that right now. Él dice que cuando esto está, usted logra mover esto, los plásticos que están adentro se logran mover. Y usted intenta ponerle grasa por aquí, pero la grasa no entra. Bien fácil, vas a sacar la engrasadora, nosotros decimos la pulga, y vas a pasarle una barrena, porque el sucede es que los dos plásticos taparon el rotito por donde va a entrar la grasa. Pasas la barrena, sacas el pedacito de plástico, vuelves y lo pones, y engrasas otra vez tu joint y queda como nuevo.
Yep, and it works good. Works good. So that's my super secret tech tip for the day.
That is not more any secret.
We actually have a good question from Jason Meeks. How often and what process do you take in servicing the winch and or synthetic line?
Yeah, that's a good question. There are a lot of people, especially if you're wheeling in muddy conditions or something where a lot of sand or something got in it. You want to take that out and you wash it. You can wash it in a bucket of water. You can rinse it with a sponge. and then you spool it back in correctly. I like to let it dry before I spool it back in. Otherwise, it can kind of get nasty, like our strap was going to do when it got wet. So.
In Puerto Rico, we do it every time we go to the mud, we clean the road. Cada vez que nosotros vamos al fango, sacamos la soga completa y la limpiamos completa, la dejamos secar y volvemos y la metemos. Hay un video en mi canal Wildis of Road, how to do it perfectly, con un cubo y con su jabón y todo.
So we do have a question. How much does Terremoto weigh?
Well, that's a good question. We were going to break the scales out and weigh it probably tonight. So I'm going to guess right now it's light. It might be 45, 47. It's really light right now.
You know what? Some things. Before I have GenRight parts in my JKU, I used to have everything in steel from another company. This company right now disappeared a few years ago, and then I changed to GenRight. When I put all your parts in aluminum, I gained 1 inch more higher, and I weighed it. All the parts that I take it out was 965 pounds that I take it off.
And that's all up high, right?
Uh-huh.
All those parts are up high, so then the center of gravity is
I
back.
do it when I used to live in the States for 2 years because the hurricane hits in Puerto Rico in 2017. I do that in the States, and then I go Moab that year with all the aluminum, my blue Jeep with all the aluminum color, and I feel it in the gas.
Oh,
Because it was like 1,000 pounds less.
Yes.
And all the kit from you, it was like 200 or less. It's really, really light. Front bumper like
Yeah.
this is only like 15 pounds.
yeah, super light. Yep.
My TJ, I take off. When I change, can I say the other
Yeah.
manufacturer?
Sure.
Metal Club to GenRight. I took off 750 something pounds out of
That's
my
a lot.
TJ.
Especially on a short wheelbase like a TJ.
Yeah.
Yes, and when I do aluminum, it feels like I change engine.
Tony always says that going from steel to aluminum adds how many horsepower?
Hey,
It's like just even. I just need people to think about it. You know, when you say, "Okay, I just dropped off 100 pounds," that's like adding 30 horsepower. I mean, let alone 600 pounds, 900.
yeah.
You know,
It's like
that's-
when a customer comes to my shop and they have a JK3A, I try a lot to sell them aluminum because it's a 3A. You know
Yeah.
that it's not a really great engine,
Right.
but you can keep it really weighted. I build a Jeep for Panama with the Hemi
had a-
5.7 and all GenRight full. When he go with 60s,
Just
when
talk
he
about
go
that.
and weight it, he weighs the same as factory of the 4-door.
Oh,
The 2-door with everything on it,
and a bigger engine.
yes,
Yes.
and ended like a 4-door. It was really good.
Wow, that
It
is
was really good.
That is good.
Well, it's 6 o'clock. So if we didn't get to their question, they can join us next week, and we'll be happy to answer them, re-ask them, and make sure.
We did a ton of stuff on this
Yep.
week, so more
And-
than we even have time for.
And guys, do make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because we've been randomly going live and turn on your notifications, and some of it's really cool stuff that you won't want to miss.
Sí, eso es muy importante, gente. Vaya al canal, suscríbase, porque todos los miércoles, a esta misma hora que están viendo este video, todos los miércoles sale el Tech Talk y ustedes van a aprender mucho. Por más que no sepan inglés, in the off-road world, you don't need to have to learn English or Spanish because we keep calling parts like shocks
Yeah.
in Puerto Rico. We don't say amortiguador. It's shock, and you can learn a lot with that video. Just go and subscribe to the YouTube channel.
That's good. And the last but not least, are we still on?
Yeah, we're still on.
Our app. Yes. So don't forget to go over to the App Store and download the GenRight app for Apple or Android. And it's your one stop for everything GenRight. Events, parts, sales, announcements, new products.
Like now,
everything.
it's on sale, a lot of parts.
A lot of the parts are on sale right now for our Rocktober sale.
Not the roll case for LJ.
JL.
For JL.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
LJ is on sale.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't find it.
I know, yeah. It's
This is brand new.
Brand new, yeah. So, other than that, don't forget, if you're in the greater western United States, come to our turkey run out at the Hammers. That's November 19th through the 29th. So, and what else?
We got GenRight nights across the country this Friday.
This Friday, yes, this Friday. So you can look it up, and on Facebook, everybody's got their event created, so you can find one near you. All right, that's it. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you.